clear. Hey, what's good, you pretty babies? What is good? All right. Everything's still loading up here. No problem, no problem. What is good, everybody? Wednesday night. Wednesday night, you know what that means. New RCWR show. We gonna be going a little bit all over the place on this episode. So definitely pull up a nice comfy seat. Stay with me a little while. So I'm always happy that you guys be tuning in, checking me out and everything. All right. Still connecting to just one other outlet. So I'm actually going to wait just a couple of additional seconds here while we're waiting. And we will have ourselves a show. All right. Let's see here. Gonna have ourselves a nice little show. All right. So, well, people are still gathering in here. Yo, I am so excited about 2022. You guys have no idea. So, little quick sidebar. Nice little pre-show yakety yak I like to include for you guys, particularly that check out the web stream, because I don't include this stuff on the audios once I edit and I release it for on demand and on the downloads. So, I came across this really cool graphic designer, and it turns out, I believe I understood it correctly, it turns out they actually were a fan of the show. At least I believe that was the case. And basically I was telling them how I had needed some new graphics done for my show intro and everything. Because if you've ever watched any of my older videos, you'll see the intro that I'm talking about. It's pretty good. It's pretty good and everything. But I've been pushing that pretty much almost since we began the show, honestly. And I just felt that it was time for a much needed facelift. And so I reached out to this one person and they were like, yeah, I'm definitely interested in the project. What did you have in mind? And I worked with them very closely on how I was envisioning the intro and everything. And it is badass. I gotta tell you, it is badass. The resolution, everything, it is just magnifico. And I showed it to wifey and I said, you know, what do you think? What do you think about this, hunt? And she was like, oh, I love it. This is really, really good. And I was like, yeah. And I told her how I'm still fond of the old graphic, the old intro. But she said, yeah, but that was then. This is now. It has met its time. This is good. I'm like, okay. And we both literally said at the same time, don't push it until the beginning of next year. Just ride out the remaining of 2021, pushing what you're pushing now. I'm like, right? So only a couple of weeks away, but I'm telling you, when you guys see it, you guys are going to love the intro. It kicks mega ass. If I had one little bone, just one little bone, and it's actually not even the graphic artist's fault. It's actually my fault because of what all I wanted in the intro. But initially I was picturing something that would be about 40 to maybe 50 seconds long. And what we ended up getting was, I think, 1 minute and 1 second. Yes, of an intro. Of 1 minute, 1 second. 1 minute, 1 second of the intro. So, you know, I think because it's so... I think most people will look past that. I think only the cynical ones, the ones that's really trying to be an asshole, are going to be the ones that, you know, will say, oh, it's too long, right? Maybe nothing that speedrun can't, maybe, you know. So I'm working with somebody, close friend of the show, Familia. I'm working with somebody very closely that's going to score the intro and then add their own narration to it. I'm telling you guys, when you see that, I wish I could just show you guys a little bit of a peek right now. There's nothing I would love to do more and show you guys a little bit of a hot peek, but I'm just gonna have to tease you guys with that for now. That's all. I'm gonna tease you guys for that. But trust me, it's gonna be worth the wait, man. It looks banging freaking good. All right, so that's all. All right, got a little bit of echo in there. That's good. All right, so we can definitely go on ahead and officially start the show here. I'm just doing some last minute tag in here, and then we're pretty much gonna be rocking and rolling here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's start this bad boy up for December 8th of 2021. You are checking out an all-new The RCWR Show, covering all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. A somewhat better Lee Sanders here. I think this is it for us as far as I know, as far as shows goes. If there's going to be any additional shows this week, something groundbreaking has to be going down. Like, there's got to be a major piece of breaking news. Maybe somebody has passed that was so surprisingly. It's got to be something big, but this is pretty much going to be our last show until next Monday. And I'm definitely deserving of some rest, I tell you, because this now makes, when we rewind it back, we did a show Saturday. We did a show Monday. No, correction. We did a show Saturday. We did a show Sunday. We did a show Monday. We did a show Tuesday. And now here we are back again. This is our 5th consecutive night of doing a show. But we're going out on a really good note as we're talking AEW Dynamite fallout from tonight. We're also going to be backtracking a little bit, talking about what all had came about from this week's NXT. I definitely want to sound off about the 2 departures, it looks like, for all intents and purposes, from NXT/WWE and Johnny Gargano and Kyle O'Reilly. Loads that we're going to be able to get into on this episode. So it's nice. It is jam-packed. I'm excited to be here, honestly. Still a little bit under the weather for those of you that might be a little bit curious. I know I sounded much worse a couple of days prior, believe it or not, but I'm slowly getting whatever I'm battling right now. It's not COVID. Yeah, that came back negative. Just a common cold, or at least symptoms of a common cold. Yeah, it's slow. I'm kicking its ass. I just got to continue to stay hydrated and catch up on some much needed rest. And that's definitely what I plan on doing as soon as we are done with this show. But I am doing a lot better. But I tell you what, Dynamite, pretty solid episode. Yeah, I definitely want to know what you guys thought about Dynamite for this week. So sound off. I got a poll up on YouTube. Actually, YouTube's poll isn't even up yet. I didn't even create the YouTube poll yet. Let me actually create that for you guys, because I see you guys love the poll. I saw there was a lot of you guys that have voted on the WWE Raw poll for this week. Just to go back to that one, by the way, as far as our YouTube community is concerned, for Raw this week, 59% gave the show a thumbs down. Meanwhile, 41% gave it a thumbs up. So let's do it again. What did you think about AEW Dynamite? Where's my hashtag in there? Hang on. AEW Dynamite. This poll is about to go live in about 10 seconds, and your options are simple. We'll give you a thumbs up and we'll give you a thumbs down option. It's live now, YouTube. Just head over to the communities tab and you can cast your vote that way. And I'll see what you guys said on YouTube in a little bit. Our Twitter poll, that is up right now. Here's just a snapshot right now, an early snapshot. Right now we have, still pretty early. Right now, 100% of the votes are coming in, giving it a thumbs up. Yes, 100% of the votes coming in right now. This is via Twitter. Votes coming in right now are giving the show a thumbs up. Look, it was a good show. I honestly like the fact that what they were building towards really was setting up next week's AEW Dynamite, as that's going to be the Winter is Coming edition. And I love those Winter is Coming editions, honestly. But you guys got to forgive me. In regards to the main event match between Bryan Danielson and John Silver there of the Dark Order, I didn't even bother watching that match. Can I explain the reason why? It's not long-winded. I didn't watch the match personally because I automatically knew what the outcome of that was going to be. I automatically knew that Hangman Adam Page was going to come out and there was going to be some type of a confrontation between he and Danielson, thus setting up the main event match for Winter is Coming. And I did have the audio playing for that main event match of everything that had went down tonight on Dynamite. Believe it or not, when I tell you this, that main event match was the only match I just was not even interested in watching. It's nothing personal against John Silver whatsoever. Solid in-ring enhancement performer for what he is and everything. I think what he's done to himself physically, the transformation he's made, the dedication he's put into his body and everything, you got to tip your hat off to that and everything. But for me, that is not a name that I am flocking to my TV set for to see him take on. You feel where I'm coming from? It's one thing if you were to say to me, oh man, Dante Martin and Daniel Bryan are going to be locking it up. Okay, well, even if I know in my heart of hearts Daniel Bryan is going to win that, hey, Dante Martin, hey, he is entertaining as hell. This kid is extremely promising. He's got a bright career ahead of him, right? Insert your favorite AEW wrestler that you feel, hey, this is without a doubt going to be a future superstar, future homegrown piece of talent for the promotion in years to come. Hell, might even become a future AEW World Heavyweight Champion. If you kind of approach it from that standpoint, you definitely will understand where I'm coming from. Even the most hardcore AEW fan can respect where I'm coming from. With a name like John Silver, it's just, I'm good. Seriously, I'm not rushing to my TV. No different than, CM Punk is taking on QT Marshall. I'm not rushing to the TV set to watch Punk and QT Marshall. No disrespect, but just not my cup of tea. To each its own. That's just my personal preference. But everything else I did watch for Dynamite tonight. And for the most part, I loved it. Definitely was a couple of hiccups along the way that made me go, ooh. We'll talk a lot more about that in a hot minute. Hey, before we go any further into the show, let's get this out up front. This is wrestling related as well. I want to send heartfelt condolences, thoughts, prayers to the family, friends, and colleagues of Blackjack Lanza, Blackjack John Lanza, who passed away earlier today at the age of 86. At the age of 86, part of the infamous Blackjacks with Blackjack Mulligan. Blackjack Lanza is a 2004 WWE Hall of Famer inductee. He's also in the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame. As far as what the cause of death was, I don't know. I tried to make sure that I was as current as possible on any developing news. And look, for all intents and purposes, nice, long, rich life. 86, that's a hell of a run, right? 86 is a hell of a run. You just hope that he wasn't suffering from any form of cancer or any other crap that was constantly putting him in daily pain or whatnot. But Blackjack Lanza, man, where do you even go? Where do you even go when you want to talk about Blackjack Lanza? Because, and you know what was so weird tonight? I will say this, just to throw it back on AEW for a hot minute. I don't know if anybody had peeped this out, and if I missed it, let me know. Because on top of taking notes on my tablet, I was doing a little multitasking, going in between both rooms, setting up the studio and everything for the show. But am I mistaken? Or did AEW not do a rest in peace to Blackjack Lanza? If I missed it and you were watching tonight, let me know when did they air it, because I did not see anything. As far as I know, throughout the broadcast, I didn't even hear any reference to Blackjack Lanza. I heard hey, we want to send our best wishes to Justin Roberts and Jim Ross. Even when the broadcast was ending of Dynamite tonight, I remember hearing a shout out once again to JR. But I didn't hear anything about Blackjack Lanza as far as a rest in peace or thoughts and prayers from the Dynamite broadcast tonight. Did you all? And if you did, give us a ballpark of, yeah, I heard it. It was actually around this point of the show. Sound off. Definitely curious, but thought that was kind of, but if you are a fan of old school wrestling, especially if you really love FTR, and FTR, if you're a younger wrestling fan, FTR made you want to just head on back and check out previous tag teams of yesteryear and everything, you gotta have the Blackjacks on the top of your list as far as tag teams to go back and check out, because them were some hard-hitting boys. No, let me not even call them boys. Them were some hard-hitting men, grown-ass men. In that ring, just, you hear me from time to time say, now that's a man's man, right? And what they were doing in that ring, Blackjack Mulligan, Blackjack Lanza, they were doing some grown man shit. They were doing some man's man type of wrestling. And from the WWA to the WWF, AWA, decorated career that Blackjack Lanza had. At one point, he was the WWA World Heavyweight Champion. He won the title. I forgot from who. He won the title, though, in 1967. And he held that championship for almost 2 years. He lost it in 1969. I believe I'll have to rely on you, fellow wrestling historians as well. You buffs that like to brush up on your wrestling history. But I believe he lost the championship in 69 to Dick the Bruiser. Don't quote me on that. My memory is a little fuzzy at times. But yeah, he was a former WWA World Heavyweight Champion. And this man's career, I mean, you want to talk about, really the peak of his career was definitely during the 60s. But it went from the 60s to the 80s. And yeah, I got a lot of fond memories, man. A lot of fond memories of Blackjack Lanza. Just the old school, in your face, nitty gritty brawling type of, a lot of what you see in Blackjack Lanza and Mulligan as well. That's why you got guys like Mick Foley that was in his own way paying homage. You got guys like John Bradshaw Layfield. I remember he pretty much was a honorary member of the Blackjacks. He confirmed that himself, reiterated it again on social media earlier today and everything. But a lot of what you see in him, hell, you could even go, if you want, the Stan Hansen route. You could see so much of the heavy influences of those names that I just mentioned. And you could probably think of other wrestlers that were heavily influenced by the Blackjacks. And yeah, that, you can't feel too sorry. And I don't want people to be, it's so sad. It's like, look, 86, that is a nice, long, richful life. It is. Too many times in this day and age, particularly, we keep hearing about people that's dropping in their 50s. I mean, hell, actually, no, what's becoming the new norm? We're hearing about people that's dropping in their late 40s. If they're not dropping in their late 40s, they're dropping in their 50s. And if they're not dropping in their 50s, they're dropping in their early 60s. And with everything that we know about science, medicine, and everything, how we can all do our part to expand our life, with the science and medicine that we know now, better health, nutrition information and everything, right? Considering the style of wrestling that Blackjack Lanza had did for so many decades, right? And that he was able to see 86, that is a blessing in itself when you really take a step back and you think about it. And look, not for nothing, but once his in-ring career was pretty much over and done with, he actually made the transition into working behind the scenes for the WWE. For the longest time, he was in the back. He served as a agent, if you will. And Triple H had said it best. I'm pretty much paraphrasing what he said, but to really capture what Blackjack Lanza was all about, if you were a talent and you were working in the WWE, you cared a lot about feedback on how you're doing, ways of improvement, and all of that. And you were very receptive to getting any type of input that you could from anyone that was willing to give you that constructive feedback. But if there was one definitive guy in that WWE locker room that you made it your business to go and see, amongst all the talents, hands down, they all went to Blackjack Lanza. And he was one of those type of guys, the way he was described, hey, you might have not liked what he said to you, but he was honest. He gave it to you right between the eyes. He didn't sugarcoat it. He was always honest, right? And that's the thing that people need, when they're trying to advance in their respective careers. They want that honesty. They don't want to hear, oh, you're doing good. You're doing such a great job. Yeah, keep at it. Oh, he is a total piece of shit. He sucks at it, right? They want to hear that constructive criticism and all that. So, yeah, but I think he began working backstage for WWE in some capacity as a road agent and producer. I'm trying to think, because he retired in the 80s, if I remember correctly. He retired around 85, 86. And if I remember correctly, he's pretty much been with the WWE since then. So look at that tenure. Think about that. That's a long time to be with an employer there. So one thing that is being said throughout the web as far as his health goes, even though 86, nice long rich life, apparently within recent years he had somewhat been in some type of poor health. Now, I don't know exactly what that means, folks, because that's so vague, right? If you really stop and think about it, that could mean, okay, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, right? That could mean a lot of things. Bad liver, fatty liver. That could mean a lot of things. But 86, nice, long, rich, full life. If there is such a thing as a utopia, hopefully Blackjack Lanza has found that, and he's enjoying himself, right? He's enjoying himself with the other wrestling legends that's out there somewhere. Honestly, no bullshit. Just when I said earlier this week about the whole utopia for Bob Dole, and probably Norm Macdonald is right there at the pearly gates. Hey, it took you so long, right? That Norm Macdonald voice. I would imagine, hopefully, one of the first people that Blackjack Lanza sees is his former tag partner in Blackjack Mulligan. Remember, Mulligan had died not that long ago. Mulligan died in 2016 at the age of 74. So, the Mulligans are reunited somewhere, and they are tearing it up right now. So, rest in power to Blackjack Lanza. Definitely wanted to mention that up front. For you old school wrestling fans, if you got some of your favorite Blackjack Lanza moments, or it can involve both guys of the Blackjacks, I would love to hear from you guys. It's rare I get to talk old school wrestling. It's very, very rare, because most of our audience, even though I'm paying attention to the age demographics, they care more about the current products than the old school stuff, which is kind of sad, because over the years, off and on, I've been kind of itching to kind of go retro with some shows and just talk a little old school wrestling. But there's got to be I kind of feel at least a high demand for it to a certain degree. But yeah. Hey, AEW Dark results for this week. I want to share those with you all. We already went over Dark Elevation on Monday's podcast, so we're not going to rehash that. But we do have the results that came about from Tuesday's AEW Dark Elevation. Your matches went as follows. Lee Moriarty defeated Am I reading this right? Mysterioso? Really? Really, you know how long I've been saying Mysteriosos for years? Credit to William Shatner, but it is what it is. Lee Moriarty defeated Mysterioso. Lee Rush, meanwhile, got a victory over Rayo. Brandy Rhodes was in action, believe it or not, on Dark. She picked up a win over Angelica Risk. Remember the interviews that Brandy Rhodes was giving leading up to her return to AEW. She did say she was training harder than ever and she wanted to get back into the ring and really take her game to the next level. So, curious if this is officially that start. We'll have to wait and see, right? Emi Sakura defeated Ryo Mizunami. Meanwhile, Anthony Ogogo defeated Baron Black. Sean Spears and Wardlow teamed up, tag team action, as they picked up a win over Jay Marty and Richard King. Meanwhile, Fuego del Sol scored a win over Luke Sampson. Trios tag team match, Dante Martin, Powerhouse Hobbs, and Ricky Starks defeated the team of Omkar. Oh, wait a minute. Omkar. It's got to be Omkar. Kikoa and JT Dunn. Meanwhile, Thunder Rosa defeated Sofia Castillo, and John Silver picked up a win over Aaron Solo. Those were your matches from this week's AEW Dark. So good stuff right there. Congrats to AEW, by the way, in regards to tonight's Dynamite show. They did this at the USB Arena, and this is something that we talked about off and on, because like normally we let you guys know once in a blue moon, oh hey, here's some more venues where these guys are going to be and these guys are going to be. So we usually cover little stuff like that. But what makes this one very interesting is the fact that AEW came to us from the USB Arena tonight 1 week after WWE was at that same arena, but WWE did not do well as far as their ticket sales go. Now, as we always do on this show, I know we got those out there that like to go WWE sucks, AEW rocks, and then vice versa. The one thing that I always strive to let you all know, when you come here, everybody's welcome. You know, we're just all in this for the love of pro wrestling in general. That's what it's all about, just in general. We're not doing that whole nana boo boo bullshit. Like, we ain't got time for that, right? You guys are better than that, right? You're bigger than that, right? I would like to think so. But you just want to talk about a stark contrast, because WWE had been struggling with this same venue since September. Think about that for a second. Since September, WWE was struggling to sell tickets, like just get a full 100% all tickets sold at that venue. As a matter of fact, and I actually took the liberty of doing just a little bit of research here, and I have found this really, really fascinating as far as like stat numbers and stuff goes. And I want to see if I can actually share it with you here in the notes that I had took. Bear with me a second here. I want to say, let me see if I can find it. If I can't find it, then I'm just going to have to go off of the top of my head. And that actually is going to have to be the case. Hang on. No, I actually have my notes. Here it is. I didn't think I had my notes. So when we go back to September of this year, WWE were struggling as they had sold about almost check this out, 2,365 of the over 7,000 seats that were available. Think about that for a second. They had over 7,000 seats available at the USB Arena. And again, September. And at that point, they were struggling to sell just about 2,400 something seats. Right? So that's about 32% of tickets that they had managed to sell. And they basically had about over 5,000 tickets remaining. And as we got closer and closer and closer, you know, from what I was able to understand, they were nowhere near selling out that USB Arena from what they did last week. They were nowhere near their expected goal. And yet AEW was able to come to this venue pretty much a week later, right? And from all intents and purposes, word going around is that they did sell out. AEW, that is. They did sell out that USB Arena. So I definitely want to know what the final numbers are and everything, because I really want to. But, I mean, assuming that is the case, I mean, that's a huge congratulations to AEW. But then it brings about a really good question, which is, okay, so what did WWE do wrong that AEW did right? You know, what was it? Better logistics? Was it, you know, better affordable prices? You know, what is it exactly? I mean, look, not for nothing. I don't know when's the last time, and I'm not making any excuses, but if you guys want to shed your own theory, I'm more than happy to hear it. But look, you're talking to somebody that usually makes their rounds going to different venues and stuff like that, wrestling, non-wrestling related. And when we're talking wrestling here, I mean, I got to be honest. It seems like WWE's been trying to make up for lost time with their prices for these shows. I mean, the prices they got for these shows, it's, I mean, it is one of those, you going to be good on that car payment for this month? Like, because if you're going to pay that for a WWE ticket, that's pretty much what it's going to cost you, right? It's really, unless you maybe know the right people, you dig? Whereas the AEW tickets, damn affordable, right? So there's a reason why when you go on WWE Shop, remember there used to be a time where shirts were $15, $20. Now they want a freaking norm of freaking like $27, $28, sometimes $30. They try to get you when it comes to the whole sale stuff and all that, but it is what it is, right? Now, I'm not going to try to wrap my brain around that, but it's an interesting testament. I tell you what, you have this big global empire, and they struggled even all the way up to the day of the venue, the day of the actual show that they were supposed to be doing. They struggled, and yet AEW just continued to. Interesting. Very interesting, I think. But yeah, it is what it is. So, AEW Dynamite for this week. CM Punk kicking things off. Trolled the hell out of the fans. Because we got the music of MJF. And look, I'm not going to do a full-blown recap. I want to talk about the stuff that was definitely of interest. And I will spend a couple of minutes on some key things about some of the matches. I'm not going to go over the whole play-by-play, this move. I'm not doing all that shit. But the CM Punk trolling the New Yorkers there, I love that. That was pretty good. Pretty much he cut a 10-minute promo on them, questioning why MJF was their guy. All the despicable, heinous things that MJF has been saying about CM Punk the past couple of weeks. Bringing Punk's wife into the mix, accusing Punk of pretty much trying to commit adultery, bringing up the dog, talking about killing the dog, all this other stuff. And CM Punk, was it just me, or did it seem as though CM Punk was really taken back by how much love and admiration the crowd had for MJF? I'm almost feeling as though he was just spellbound by that, because to me, it came a little bit as if CM Punk was rattled in a way where he thought he was going to be able to maybe come out there, say a little something bad about MJF. Crowd would definitely be in his favor and all that, right? He thought he was literally gonna have it that way. At least that's the vibe that I had got. And when he got the type of reaction that he got, we saw him, look, the first zinger about the New York Islanders, as we know, CM Punk is a big hockey fan and all that. That first little dig, I love that. That was a nice burn. Good shit right there. But CM Punk, we found him going to the well for that particular one a couple of more times. And it's like, maybe it's just time for you to roll out, because obviously you're kind of running out of material here, right? Like, you're obviously running out of material. Just go ahead and roll out. It was a decent promo. Don't get me wrong. It was a decent promo. I thought he executed it well. And for a guy that pretty much had to off the fly, it really did. I'd be shocked to hear if CM Punk says, no, I was actually prepared for that type of reaction. I just didn't know it was going to be as big as me in Chicago. That is what took me back. If he were to maybe say something like that, okay, but he definitely seemed rattled by the reaction, because this was an instance here where out of 100%, 90% of the crowd was booing CM Punk. So, yeah, a bit of a good start, but a bit long-winded. Kept repeating himself too much. You were hoping that something was going to happen too, as far as MJF maybe coming out. But I got to give AEW a little bit of credit here, because remember what I had said a couple of weeks ago. Well, not a couple of weeks ago, actually. I might have said it as early as last week. Pretty much the last go round that Punk and MJF had shared the ring together. I said, okay, now just keep these guys apart. Let these guys be apart. Let them talk trash about each other. And let a few weeks go by. Whenever we're going to have them lock up for their match finally, let them have that one final face-to-face encounter, do the pull apart and all that, but keep them separated for now. So I do got to give AEW props for the fact that, okay, we're not going to keep having these guys come out and no. These guys are more than capable of just on their own carrying not just themselves but their opponent this upcoming match. So I will give them props from those respected standpoints. But pretty decent, pretty decent start to the show. Of course, we had that Diamond Battle Royal tournament. Your two participants that are going to be going next week into the Winter is Coming Dynamite edition will be facing each other, where the winner will be crowned the new Diamond in the Rough champion there, if you will. They'll get that nice little diamond. Of course, as we all know, MJF is trying to three-peat. Will he be able to do that, though, against Dante Martin? That's the real question there. Taz, I love the interesting development that we got there with Team Taz and everything concerning Dante Martin, too, because you want to talk about friction. We've got Dante Martin in this bout. At one point, he decides, and matter of fact, if I remember it correctly, I have to rely on you guys. If I remember it correctly, the final three, it came down to Ricky Starks, Dante Martin, MJF. And Ricky Starks, Dante Martin, they're just so freaking excited, right? Because they know what's about to go down. You got Taz in the corner who's pretty freaking ecstatic. Taz said it himself last week that the odds that somebody from Team Taz was going to win this diamond, the odds were pretty freaking huge, right? But we see right when Ricky Starks, Dante Martin were coming right after MJF, Dante Martin decides, you know what, it's a dog-eat-dog kind of world. Sorry, homie, that's mine. And we see him toss Ricky Starks, his fellow Team Taz mate, out the ring. This has Taz extremely pissed off. You know, he feels that he has been betrayed big time. He feels that Dante Martin has become a turncoat, basically. And, you know, I'm hearing all of this. Taz is saying that what Dante has done is a breach of his contract in some form. And I just can't help but wonder, is it really? Is it really a breach? Because what exactly was supposed to happen? Were they supposed to team up and take out MJF? And then it was going to be down to the two of them. And what? No matter what happens, somebody from Team Taz was still going to win. So Taz would be good either way. Is that like, you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of one of those. Really, was Dante Martin really betraying Team Taz there? Or was he just simply going, it's a dog-eat-dog kind of world? And when it comes to stuff like this, and I was just hip to the game and was first to act before Ricky Starks was able to act, right? It's kind of one of those type of deals. So that's a continuing development right there. We got to see how that's going to pan out. But all throughout the night, we kept hearing from Taz about he's got something big. He's got something planned as far as how he's going to go about countering what Dante Martin had did. And that big revelation was his son Hook was going to be having his AEW Rampage in-ring debut against Fuego del Sol this Friday. How does that tie into, hey, they're going to piece it all together, right? I know that sounds very, very, let's just see how they piece it all together come Friday. That's the best advice I can give you guys right now. LH says, I think he betrayed them as he ripped off his Team Taz armband. Now, see, I didn't see that. If that did go down, if Dante Martin did take off his Team Taz armband, then obviously the next question becomes, okay, so what made him have a change of heart? Most importantly, was there some type of a storyline development on AEW Dark and Elevation that got us to this point of where we are right now? Because the very last thing that most folks saw on TNT programming was Leo Rush kind of looking on to Dante Martin like, you know, you're making a big mistake here. What the hell are you thinking? So unless Dante Martin the entire time, his mindset was, no, you know what? I'm going to use Team Taz. And I think Taz even alluded to that point tonight, which was Dante Martin pretty much was using Team Taz just to get to this diamond tournament spot to pretty much get himself over. And you know, if that be the case, then brilliant freaking move, but consequences have serious actions, good and bad. So again, continuing development, we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But continuing on, acclaimed Jurassic Express in action against Varsity Blondes. This was a triple threat tag team match. By the way, did you guys notice? I thought it was kind of weird. I tell you guys, over the years, certain things that I say on this show, and I mean freakishly in detail, certain things that I say, like the very next week or 2 weeks later, comes to fruition. One thing that I had said on last week's show, I can't remember which day of the week it was, but definitely on last week's show, I had said, yo, what is going on with Brian Pillman Jr.? We haven't seen him on TNT programming within recent weeks. Be nice to see him back on TNT again. Right? You got the whole nice little Varsity Blondes thing doing this thing and all that. What's going on here? Well, what a difference a week makes, because we got Varsity Blondes in action. So that put a big old smile on my face. Anytime I'm able to see Brian Pillman Jr. on my TV, I'm pumped. I'm freaking pumped. The Acclaim's Max Caster with his rap on New York. Also his little diss on the Islanders. That was nice. But the joint on Cuomo, I ate that shit up. I love that fucking shit. High marks as far as promos of the night. I got to give it up to Max Caster, because that Cuomo, you just knew he was going to go there. Like, if there was anybody that was going to touch the whole Cuomo stuff, you knew it was going to be Max Caster, and he did not disappoint. I actually dug his rap. His rap on Cuomo was pretty good. Great tag match between all three of these teams. Of course, the storyline, because that's really what this is all about. It's about that storyline that's going on with Jurassic Express. You know, they've got this great momentum that's under them right now. And you got the tag team specialist in Christian that is trying to make sure these guys continue on this great run of success that they've been having. You know, hopefully it all pays off to getting tag team championship gold. And it's looking as though, when it's all said and done, Jurassic Express, they keep this up, they definitely are going to be next in line for a shot at the tag team titles there. But I looked at this triple threat match more so about their respected development than anything else. Trying to think who won from Jurassic Express. Yeah, they picked up the W as Jungle Boy did the snare trap submission hold on Max Caster. It was a fun little match. You had so many things going on at the same time. Good stuff right here. I'm just trying to think if there was anything else in here that was kind of... Oh, yeah, post-match is where... there's one bone I have to pick with this match. One issue I had with this match, which is this. Almost towards the end of the match, we see, as clear as day, Eddie Kingston comes running down the ramp. He grabs on the back of the trunks of Daniel Garcia, pulls him down, and then cold freaking slugs him. The referee is seeing this clear as freaking day. And yet the ref does not do anything. And I just found that to be so baffling, as the ref just went on ahead and just let everything continue. I'm sorry, but was this a no DQ match? Was this what was going on here? That part was just really, really weird to me, because you would have thought that with Kingston doing that, the ref just would have went on ahead and just, okay, all right, this is getting out of hand. I'm throwing this out. No contest, right? Like nobody's won. Just no, we're done with this. It was kind of weird, that finish, I personally felt. But again, another development right here. So 2 developments right here. We got the one development with Jurassic Express continuing to get the dubs under their belt, get one step closer to getting a shot at the tag team titles. But then the other development, of course, Eddie Kingston, his beef with 2.0. Eddie Kingston had grabbed a cameraman, taking him backstage where he was with, I don't know if he was with Santana or Ortiz back there. We didn't know what Eddie Kingston was saying because they were having audio issues back there. But 2.0, Daniel Garcia, they did quickly run to the back, beat the crap out of Kingston. And again, I don't know if that was Santana or Ortiz, because everything was just playing out so fast. Kind of want to say it was Santana, but don't quote me on that. Nice little big old beatdown that went down there. I would imagine something is going to develop from that coming up on Rampage. I do have some of the matches that's going to be coming up for this Friday's Rampage, by the way. So we'll get to Rampage card in a hot little bit. From there, Chuck Taylor and Rocky Romero went up against the Bucks. This was about 15 minutes of a match. And you know what? I enjoyed this. I actually had enjoyed this match for what it was worth. It was a nice, fun, back and forth match. You know, we hadn't seen the Bucks in action. You know, it hasn't been that long, but you know, they did take a couple of weeks off. And it was actually great to see them back doing what they do best. They did their trademark flips, dives, a lot of big saves, near fall finishes and everything. You know, but the way that they did it, everything not only made sense, but it was all telling a story, right? Because you just got, you know me by now when it comes to me talking about those Bucks matches. Sometimes you get those Bucks matches where they're just going in there, they're just dialing up the hits, and they're just out of there, right? That's all it's about. But no, they told a really great, entertaining match right here, and they had, not for nothing, really great opponents, and Chuck Taylor and Rocky Romero there. And I like this. I like this. It was actually a really good match. Just when I thought that, okay, surely this is the finish right here, and the match kept going, once I saw the complete picture of how the ending to this tag match went down, it was, okay, all right, since we're doing it like that, okay, cool. And doing that Meltzer driver where one of the Bucks pretty much came from outside the ring on the side aprons and was helping out with the Meltzer drive. That was a nice little spot that they did right there. But yeah, 15-minute match. Post-match, Bucks, Cole, they continue to do their little beat down on Romero, Taylor, Orange Cassidy. But then we see Trent Beretta's mom. And of course, if we see Trent Beretta's mom, that can only mean one thing. Yeah, Trent Beretta is back after having some significant surgery done that sidelined him for a good minute. He came back looking pretty damn shredded, man. Our boy's looking pretty damn good. Mad freaking props. Came out there, was cleaning house, whooped everybody's ass. Bucks just barely able to get out of there in time. So nice to see this next big development that we got here with Best Friends, Bucks, and you know now things are truly starting to even up here when it's all said and done. So good stuff right there. Ruby Soho was being interviewed about her upcoming TBS tournament match against Jade Cargill, when she was interrupted by Bunny and Penelope Ford. Basically, Nyla Rose had sent them, yada yada, long story short, set up for Rampage. Again, we'll get to Rampage in a hot minute, but this ended with Nyla Rose, Vicky Guerrero, Penelope Ford, and the Bunny beating the crap out of Ruby Soho until Tay and Jay came out for the save, and that pretty much was the end of that. Next big setup, Sammy Guevara. Wait for Sammy to come out this week as he was not selling his ribs. Remember, that was the running gag from last week, his ribs. Ain't that much healing in the world 7 days later. You should at least by now be wearing some type of black tape or coming out there with the freaking massage gun just on your abs or whatever. But we didn't get any of that. So, but the point, have that in the back of your head, though. Seriously, have that in the back of your head. But Sammy is out with Tony Schiavone being interviewed. He doesn't even get that far in his interview when Cody comes out to a shit ton of boos I was very, very curious to see what was going to be happening with Cody after that great match that he had with Andrade. I was most curious because I said to you guys, I said AEW's in a really good position right here where they can do their very best to build upon what they did with Cody. You got the foundation now just, and to have Cody come out there, I would like to believe that they knew this was going to happen, but they didn't care because they were all about telling the story that they were trying to tell. I would like to really believe that, because if Cody is dead serious about, contrary to how some people may feel, what they may want to happen for my respective career, I'm not going the heel route. You can forget about it. I got a kid now and I'm at a different place. Like, nah, I'm not doing it. Okay. All right. We get that. But was it really wise to have Cody out there tonight? That was bad. That was pretty bad, the reactions that he had got. And it just leaves me flabbergasted there. But Cody comes out and he reveals that he spoke with Tony Khan, and that Tony Khan agreed, and that if I heard this correctly here, and I'm looking at the calendar right now, basically, what is it? I think it's the Christmas Eve edition of Rampage, maybe? Something's going down the week of Christmas. I don't know if it's going to be on that Wednesday's Dynamite or if it's going to be on Friday's Rampage, but it's one of those two episodes. Cody revealed that he's going to be facing Sammy for that TNT championship, and he pretty much wished him luck. Even said, "Kid, good luck, kid." Even did the whole, and I thought that was kind of purposeful, how Cody had said from one babyface to another, and the crowd still did not. They really laid in heavy on Cody. Well, cue up Men of the Year. They were not ecstatic to see Cody getting this title shot. I like how also conveniently they waited until Cody left, as they revealed, you know what, when you're one of the EVPs and you're kissing Tony Khan's ass, you'll probably get a chance too to get a title shot, as Ethan Page recalled all the loopholes he had to go through just to get a TNT title shot opportunity. And that basically, hey, you know who is going to give me my opportunities, who's not bullshitting me around? Dan Lambert. So nice little plug for Dan Lambert. Talked about how Dan Lambert has pretty much gave them a chance, and he's going to be coming back very, very soon. Guevara tells them straight up, you guys want a shot? Come get it. So, it's nice to see this continuing development that's going on here between, the way I'm looking at this right now, and I know a lot of fans are looking at this and, they want to shit on the whole Cody thing. But no, the way I'm looking at this right now is Sammy will defeat Cody. Man, it's right there. Clear as day. Cody will be defeated by Sammy. So that TNT championship is not going anywhere. But Sammy's hands are going to get tied up rather quickly with the Men of the Year there. And I'm most curious what's going to happen right there with Men of the Year and Sammy, because we've got Jericho, for all intents and purposes. He's doing his thing with Eddie Kingston right now, 2.0, Daniel Garcia and all that. But I'm curious if Jericho, or is it maybe going to be Hager? You feel where I'm coming from? It's kind of interesting to see where exactly they're going to be going with that. But I like the fact that as it stands right now, Sammy Guevara is just continuing to remain a solo act, at least for the foreseeable future. Nice video package of Thunder Rosa and Jay Cargill of their upcoming match. Looking forward to that. I'm telling you, of all the TNT matches there, or sorry, TBS, I want to make sure I stress that, TBS tournament matches there. Of all those that's coming up, That's the one I'm looking forward to the most. Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill. I told you guys, if I remember correctly, I said Jade Cargill all the way. Jade Cargill all the way. Look, if it were to go with Thunder, I'm okay. I win either way. But if I got to go with hey, I love me some Thunder Rosa, man. Nothing personal against Thunder Rosa, but like, man, Jade has just been on such a goddamn hot streak, man. I was like, you got to continue to build on that. Jamie Hayter taking on Riho was your next matchup. Look, good match. Good match. I got to give Riho a lot of props since Riho has been back this go round. Because, we see her for several weeks and then she's gone for about a couple of months. But this go round, since Riho's been back, she's been putting out there some really good matches. And these two girls, they really went in there and were beating the holy crap out of each other. I got to give them a lot of props. Even if it felt that as far as the finish goes, the victor, it was so obvious. But I thought they did good. One spot, though, in this match had me really, really clutching my teeth big time because it could have ended up being very ugly. Could have ended up being very ugly. There was a spot that went down with Jamie Hayter and Riho in the corner, and Riho ends up doing this crucifix bomb from the top rope. And the way Jamie Hayter landed, it was so fucking weird because if it would have been off just by, that could have been extremely ugly. It really could have. And I'm just kind of at a point right now where it's like, okay, look, I get we gotta sell for Riho and she's the new number one contender, and I get all that. But the great transformation that Jamie Hayter has been able to do with her body and everything, sometimes some of the stuff that, okay, yeah, I can still do XYZ and I can still do this and I can still do that. It's like, yeah, that might be kind of true, but the one thing that you kind of have to remember is the more bulk you put on, the more muscle mass that you're putting on, more weight in general, some of that stuff is going to be a bit tricky to try to pull off, especially if you're not doing those things on a consistent basis, right? It's not in your repertoire for X amount of matches that you have that week and you're constantly putting them in rotation. You feel where I'm coming from? So for me, that spot was extremely scary. And look, the last thing I'm going to do is suggest or tell somebody, but in this rare instance, I just kind of really feel as though for someone as talented as Jamie Hayter, and with this new powerhouse persona gimmick that she has going for herself and everything, I just can't help but put the question out there. Should she really be doing stuff like that? That's all I'm doing is putting the question out there, because what I saw tonight just really made me cringe, and I personally would rather not see that ever again. That's just me personally. I'm just glad she was able to walk out of there for all intents and purposes. Maybe she might have a little bit of a zinger, but I'm just glad she's freaking okay. But it was really scary. You guys got to go back and you got to check it out when you get a chance. If you didn't watch Dynamite tonight, you definitely got to go back and you got to peep that out, because that was some weird fucking shit, let me tell you. But a good match between those girls. Good story. A little rough in some areas, a little bit rough, but overall, good match. Definitely a good match. Hey, real quick, you guys been enjoying yourself so far. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And feel free to hit that like button. When you hit that like button, you do your part in letting other people know about our content. It helps make our content more discoverable when you hit that like button and all that. Hit that bell too, so you know about all content that's going to be coming your way. Oh, you know what? Let me do this here. Hang on. I should have done that a long time ago. There we go. Are we connected now? Yep, there we go. I meant to do that a long time ago. I did not do that a long time ago. All right, cool. I'm looking at Discord for you guys that's kind of wondering what's going on. I forgot to connect to Discord a long time ago. A couple of other tidbits from Dynamite tonight. Let's see what else had happened here. We already talked about the John Silver, Bryan Danielson. We pretty much had opened up the talk of Dynamite on that one. Just looking at my notes here, seeing if there's anything else that was. Oh, yeah. Tony Schiavone was trying to interview the Varsity Blondes. When the lights went out, Malachi Black appears. And of all the people to spray, he decided to spray his liquid juices onto Julia Hart. That's one way to give a woman fluids. Wait a minute. Where's my sound effect? I don't think that's a sound effect anymore. Your skin will glisten too with Malachi Black's liquid. Fuck it, I'm not gonna even try to look for the other sound bite, man. I'm not gonna even bother looking for it. No, that's good. We'll just let it run like that. So yeah, there's your next little instant Acme feud there. So I mean, if you're a Varsity Blondes fan and or a Brian Pillman Jr. fan, then you're definitely excited for this, because this is basically going to be a nice continuation of seeing Varsity Blondes on TNT TV. So that's good, especially if it means we're going to be going into maybe a future episode of Rampage and we're going to see Malachi Black, we're going to see Varsity Blondes and all that. Hey, I'm down for that, whether it's gonna be Brian Pillman Jr. versus Malachi Black, or hell, if you want to do a 2-on-1 handicap match, think about that. That could also be down the pipeline as well. Friday's Rampage. Here's the matches as it stands right now, what they've pretty much advertised. Hook making his AEW in-ring Rampage debut, in the ring wise. He will be facing Fuego del Sol. Bunny, Penelope Ford, Nyla Rose will team up to take on the team of Ruby Soho, Tay Conti, Anna Jay. Meanwhile, FTR, put a pencil by this, but supposedly there's supposed to be a FTR versus Lucha Brothers match. And we know Phoenix has been kind of banged up or what have you. So we also got developments for AEW Revolution Weekend. That's going to be coming up in March. They're going to be at the Addition Arena. They got a great 3-day event that's going to be happening Revolution Weekend. So March 4th, they're going to be doing some AEW tapings. And then Saturday, the 5th, is going to be a fan fest. So that should be pretty cool. I wonder who's going to be all signed up for that one. And then Sunday is going to be the pay-per-view itself. And you definitely want to make sure you're watching Rampage this Friday, because I would imagine they're going to be announcing more matches for the Winter is Coming edition of Dynamite next Wednesday. Right now, we just know Serena Deeb will take on Sheeta at Winter is Coming. Dante Martin will face MJF. That's pretty much the Dynamite finals there. We know that Heyman Adam Page is going to be defending the AEW World Heavyweight Championship against Daniel, I was getting ready to say Daniel Bryan. You guys got to forgive me. Bryan Danielson. It's going to take me a minute. It's going to take many of us a minute, actually. But yeah, there's going to be more matches that's going to be announced. So I would imagine this Friday's Rampage, they're going to be going down that route and letting us know all the matches that's going to be coming about. By the way, friendly reminder, I am a columnist for 411mania.com, occasional reporter as well. And I'm always, every Friday night, providing live AEW Rampage coverage. So if you're going to be out and about on Fridays, definitely have the 401 Mania site bookmark. And as of 10 p.m. Eastern on Friday nights, just hop on the site. I'm providing my live coverage. After it's over, I come right back and I do an instant review, little piece, letting you guys know what I had thought about it and all. So, but yeah, I'm pretty excited for Rampage, for the sole purpose of seeing what else they're going to be announcing for Wednesday. Good stuff right there. Sorry for the awkward silence. Had to have a refreshing beverage there. So, you know, that's pretty much Dynamite in the books. You know, pretty solid show for what it was worth. So, some other stuff that we can get into here on the show. How long we been on the air, by the way? No, not too shabby. Only an hour 10. Yeah, it feels like it's much shorter, but no, about an hour and 10. That's pretty cool. All right, so shout out to Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Oh, shout out to him. As you all know, sometime in October, he had revealed that he'd been diagnosed with prostate cancer, but that luckily, upon detecting it, you know, they got to it kind of early. He had to have surgery to, remove it and everything. And he underwent surgery a week or so later or something along those lines. But he had shared good news on social media this week as he has officially beaten cancer for a second time. And he shared this on social media. It was rather brief, but I wanted to share with you guys. In case you didn't know, he had said, "Hi, everybody. I just want to share with everybody the great news I just received that my cancer was all encapsulated inside my prostate. They checked my bones. That came out clear. The surrounding tissue came out clear. The lymph nodes came out clear. So thank God I'm cancer free. You know, this was my second bout with cancer. 20 years ago, I had kidney cancer. Now prostate cancer. Remember, folks, early detection saves lives. And Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho! So I'm very ecstatic to hear that. From everything that I've heard about Hacksaw Jim Duggan over the years, even in recent years, definitely within the past 2 years, I've heard that he is a sweetheart of a guy. Top-notch professional, fun-loving dude. Like, you won't hear anybody say anything bad about him. So it's nice to hear that he's, knock on wood, cancer-free, hopefully for the rest of his golden years. You know, that's good to hear. That's really good to hear, especially going into this big, hardcore piece of the holiday season. You feel where I'm coming from? The real meat and potatoes of the holiday spirit and all that. It's nice to hear that, you know, he's kicked its ass, and hopefully it is forever in the rearview mirror, not looking back, won't be coming back. Remember what we were talking about on Monday's show in regards to Liv Morgan? And I said something along the lines of, hey, even I was very critical of Liv Morgan. Those first couple of years, her in-ring work, very, very rough. You could tell she really wasn't sure what she was doing. You know, she seemed very, very green, like she had no business. Remember that? Again, and I shouldn't have to put this disclaimer out there, but whenever I say something that one may perceive to be a negative about their favorite wrestler or what have you, it's never, ever, ever, ever personal. It's just 2 cents from a distance. Liv Morgan did an interview. It's available right now. You can go check it out. She did an interview, I believe, with Ryan Satin. And she talked about how she did not know how to wrestle whatsoever when she got signed to the WWE. And she talked about how critical the Performance Center played a role in her in-ring development and continues to play a role with her in-ring development to this very day. I want to read to you a quote that she had said, which was as follows. I didn't know how to wrestle. I needed it. The PC was incredible. I really enjoyed my time there. I learned a lot, and I'm still learning a lot. But it gave me a solid foundation to be able to do what I do. There is no place like the Performance Center in the world. There is only one facility like that. The way it runs, how it's structured, the information you learn, the tools you're given. I wish everyone that wants to wrestle can go to the Performance Center and learn. Almost everything I know, I've learned there. Sarah Amato, she was so patient with me. Also, Coach Matt Bloom is amazing. And Norman Smiley. We have a great staff. Sarah was so patient with me and was my trainer the entire time I was there and kept going over things with me again and again and again and giving me a lot of chances. I was a little bit unruly when I first started. She gave me a lot of chances and just learned how to be a mature and responsible adult. I was 20 when I started, and I had only worked at Hooters. The most responsibility I had was making sure your wings got to you hot and your beer got to you cold. Now I'm having to be at the Performance Center at 8 a.m., which is late, 7:30. You go there half hour early. I didn't have a car. Moved to a new state. It was my first time on an airplane for the tryout. I didn't know anything except I wanted to be in the WWE more than I wanted to breathe. I had a lot of reasons to learn and a lot of growing up to do, and they let me. I'm grateful for their patience and time and allowing me to make mistakes and learn from it. So that is one hell of a story. Seriously. I mean, to go from basically being a Hooters waitress to having good financial stability from a wrestling promotion, being seen on TV every single week, being in one of a few marquee story arcs on WWE programming, working with one of the best there, and Becky Lynch. You talk about a great comeback story, and I'm sure she would definitely be the first to admit that there was definitely a couple of times there where it seemed as though she was coming pretty close to maybe being on her way out, per se. I'm sure she probably felt as though seeing all the friends that she was able to mingle with, you know, folks she was able to get to know, break bread with over the years, and she was seeing all of them disappearing like the Thanos snap. I'm sure she probably felt, am I next? What's going on here? Is my time maybe about to come? And well, you know, I try to do everything I can to the best of my ability, but you know what? If it's my time, well, you know, it's my time. And for her to be able to survive just all of those things and to be where she is right now. Now, make no mistake, and I've been very consistent. I've always said she still has a little bit of ways to go, but she has shown so much growth. She has shown so much development. And I've always been a firm believer that when you see that somebody is making strides to improve themselves, enriching their lives, how can you, first of all, shit on that? You can't help but embrace that, and you can't help but work with that person that's trying. It's one thing if you come across somebody that's not even trying. They're not even trying to lift a finger to help themselves. It's like, okay, well, if that be the case, why in the blue fuck should I even waste my time on you if you can't even invest in yourself, right? But man, when you got somebody that is making that investment in themselves, it's kind of no different. It's very similar to what Johnny Gargano said. For some of you guys that had watched NXT, remember what he said that one line? He basically said, always bet in yourself, or bet on yourself when nobody else will. Always bet on yourself, right? So it's like same terminology. It's like I can work with somebody that's invested in themselves, trying to improve their lives and all that. But it's like, oh wait, you're not doing anything? Fuck you. Why bother? It's a waste of time. Seriously. So all I gotta say to Liv Morgan, keep on. You're making your strides. Keep on. Shout out to Jonathan Gresham and his Terminus event that's going to be coming up. They announced a new name earlier today, Kiera Hogan. She's dubbing herself one of the hottest free agents that's out there on the wrestling market right now. She has loaned her name to this event that's going to be coming up January. And as a matter of fact, January the 16th. And check out the names so far of folks. And this is still a growing list, but I usually like to, every couple of weeks, let you guys know what's going on here. But so far, on top of Kiera Hogan added to this event, Daniel Garcia, Moose, Bandito, Alex Coughlin, Dante Caballero, Janai Kai, Lee Moriarty, Fred Yehi, Joe Keys, JDX, Jay Lethal. So it's building up to be a pretty damn good card so far. So for those of you that are not going to be able to check it out, if I remember right, I believe, I'll double check, but I believe Fight TV is actually going to be showing that event. And while we're also talking about events, Game Changer Wrestling, they announced that Big Sexy Kevin Nash is going to be stopping by their Detroit event that's going to be happening January 14th of next year. That event you will definitely be able to watch on Fight TV. Few other names that's going to be joining Kevin Nash on that event: Alex Shelley, Rhino, Jacobs, the most notorious Jacobs. Who else? Sabu. Still early, but those are just some of the marquee names so far that's going to be on that GCW event. Again, January 14th, and it will be streaming on Fight TV, coming to you from Detroit. If you're interested, you're going to be in the surrounding area there. You're interested in some tickets, head on over to GCW notorious.eventbrite, BRITE.com. I'll give that to you again, GCW notorious.eventbrite.com. And again, for those of you that's not going to be able to check out the event, it will be streaming on Fight TV on November 14th. So check that out. Interesting development that came about. I'll let you guys decide. We can either talk Corey Graves or we can talk WWE security. So I'll let you guys pick. That's tuned in live right now. You pick. We can either go Corey Graves or we can talk WWE security. And for those of you that's kind of like WWE security, just remind yourself of what happened with Seth Rollins about 2 weeks ago. Remind yourself from that. Yeah, well, a big development has happened in regards to WWE security. So you guys decide. You want to hear WWE security first, or you want to hear Corey Graves? Sound off if you're able to sound off in the chat and let me know. And while you're doing that, I'm going to poke my head actually on the Twitter chat to see how you guys have voted one more time for AEW Dynamite tonight. I'm seeing right now that we still got early votes coming in. Everybody's at 100% via Twitter at the RCWR show. Meanwhile, for our communities tab, let's see what you guys are saying over there. Communities tab. Let's see what you guys are saying over there. Better snapshot, I think. But go with the poll you feel best represents you. 11% are saying thumbs down for Dynamite this week. Meanwhile, 89% are giving the show a thumbs up. So, yeah, overall, definitely a pretty decent show, I personally feel. All right, so nobody's saying anything. So I don't know what's going on there, but maybe there's a delay. I don't know, because I do see the chat. I'm reading the chat right now. So, but nobody has said anything. So I will pick by default. Let's talk WWE security. It's rather brief, and then we can go right into the Corey Graves stuff. So, interesting development had came about in regards to WWE security this week. And you just can't help but think about the timing of this, all things considered. But I'll let you guys be the judge of it. So it looks like Scott Yaycock, who has worked for WWE since 2004, he's worked nothing but security for WWE since that time. You got the initial report that was put out there that said he was let go from WWE this past week. And that as far as whether he was booked for that Raw that resulted in what went down with Seth Rollins and right, well, he actually went to his LinkedIn account because he has no other social media outlets to clear up a few discrepancies. Now, look. We definitely need to take what he's saying here, but also at the same time, we also got to remind ourselves that WWE is not one of those companies that's going to jump out there and confirm or deny somebody's report or firsthand knowledge of, well, this happened. No, this isn't true, right? So he put a statement out there. Again, on his LinkedIn account. And for those of you that don't know anything about LinkedIn, it's basically think of it as how would one describe LinkedIn anyway? What is it? Would you say it's a poor man's copy of MySpace, but for professionals? I mean, you pretty much use LinkedIn when, I think the best way to describe LinkedIn, it's like a online resume of all of your accomplishments, employment-wise / career-wise, education-wise. And it's a really great tool to use as far as trying to network. And I tell you what, people that maybe you haven't even thought about in years, somehow you are just able to come across them again on that platform. It's kind of cool. But here's what he said on his LinkedIn account. This attached story link about WWE releasing me and another reporting I was fired is all false and made up. I gave significant time notice to WWE because I was presented with an awesome job opportunity. Furthermore, I was not at Raw the night of the fan incident in Brooklyn recently, as reported. This was totally my decision. And since I don't Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, etc., whoever is feeding these sites information for whatever reason, I would rethink your motivations. That is what he said on his LinkedIn account. So again, home in here. He said he gave significant notice to WWE about his departure because he was presented with an awesome job opportunity. So that's number one. Number two, he's saying that he was not at Raw the night of the fan incident in Brooklyn at the Barclays Center, as somebody jumped out there and reported. Now, again, WWE isn't going to confirm or deny what he's saying, because WWE, seriously, when have you ever seen WWE try to clear the air on something so minuscule as this? Seriously, ask yourselves that. Like, never. So, now I'm not saying the guy is lying. I'm not saying that at all. But I tell you what, whoever had initially got this information that he was leaving, this is what I mean by, okay, we have some so-called journalists, members of the media, that are basically throwing darts on the wall, basically trying to make a story out of nothing. Out of nothing. They're making something out of nothing. It's just a guessing game. That's all it is. It's just a guessing game. And I tell you what, when shit comes back to blow up in a person's face, boy, do they look stupid, or do they look stupid. You hear this type of stuff, not to be long-winded, but if you stop and think about it, hell, some of you guys that's probably watching this right now have most likely been in that position where you've worked for one employer and you decided, for whatever the respective reason was, you were going to seek employment elsewhere. You still stayed with the current job until you got hired from somebody else. And you decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to go on ahead and I like this job. This interview I went on, the pay, everything, whatever. Everything's good. I'm going to accept the work from them. All right, now I just need to give my current employer enough of a heads up that I'm rolling out. We've all been there, whether we've done it ourselves or we know somebody that, I mean, hell, I know of people right now at my, at both of my jobs, actually. I know people at both of my jobs. Yes, I said jobs. I work 2 jobs on top of doing this show and the other shows that I do for you guys every single week. And I got the nerve to juggle school as well. Ain't I great? No, seriously. No, really, ain't I great? But seriously, I know plenty of people that are in the mix right now of getting ready to leave one job for another because something better just came down the pipeline, basically, right? And so, yeah, you want to try to leave as early, as you can without. That's what I always tell people, especially younger folks. I always say, look, man, if you can help it, don't burn no bridge with your current employer. Like, even if you're going to be looking for something else, regardless, it pays more, better hours, better commute, whatever the reasons are that you're going to be leaving. If you can help it, try not to burn that bridge with the old employer, because it's going to be really hard, unless you got a damn good reference or two. It's going to be really hard to explain, okay, what happened with you during this 2-year period? You got a 2-year gap right here, or you got a 3-year gap right here. The more those gaps are, you how are you going to explain it, right? What were you doing? Were you taking care of a sick relative? What was going on right there? So, nice try by these dirt sheets. Nice try. But yeah, no. They were trying to make him be the scapegoat, and that's unfortunate. No, it just, and look, I got to follow up. Remember, at the time that all this went down, we were going into the Thanksgiving holiday. And if you guys remember, I said to you all that I actually had reached out to the people at the Barclays Center, and I was trying to see if I could get some information as far as what type of security was being used there at the Barclays Center for that Monday's Raw, and whether or not it was the same security in play at the Hall of Fame those years back with Bret Hart. And I reached out, gave him my media credentials and everything. and they did not get back to me. They did not get back to me. I reached out to some of my friends in the podcasting world, some of them that have, pretty good direct contacts with, and they're still waiting. They're still waiting to hear what's going on. So I got to follow up with some of them to see if, because there was one that was extremely promising. I'm not going to reveal who, because I don't like revealing, not unless I get the okay from them. But one of my friends actually talks to I can't get away with saying this. One of my friends talks to a Hall of Famer on the regular. I can say that. Talks to a Hall of Famer on the regular, and they're waiting to hear back from them on exactly what came about from the Seth Rollins incident, but most importantly, that security detail, what all is going on right there. So it's kind of one of those to be continued, but you would like to believe that now, rather than wait until the beginning of a new year, that WWE has seriously, I said this a couple of weeks ago, I said this initially when the Seth Rollins stuff had went down. I said, whoever the security detail is, if it's a case where WWE is using their own security, right, they're hiring their own freelance people or whoever, right, it's not a ongoing security event staff that's going with them to all these events, right? It's not the same company that they're basically, okay, we're in this city, okay, who's available? Oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, that's fine, right? Like, they need to not work with them again. If it's their own in-house security, obviously there's some stuff that they need to tighten up with the quickness. It's sad that in regards to the Seth Rollins stuff, I had said this a couple of times, but I can't help but drive this point home. While everybody was making fun of the fan beating up Seth Rollins and everything, on a more serious note, what if that fan had some type of a weapon? And please don't come at me with, but security, they are always checking. There's the pat downs, there's the metal detectors, and there are ways. Trust me, you're talking to somebody that did over 10 years in security. There are ways that you can get around all of that shit. There are ways that you can, I can go open this door over here and let my friends in and we can go do our thing. Okay, we can easily go distract this person and then we can just come around this way and they'll never know, yada, yada, yada. Like, there are fucking ways. So just saying, hypothetically speaking, just close your eyes. Just imagine if that fan that attacked Seth Rollins would have had a knife in his hand, some type of, heaven forbid, right? It would have been a completely different conversation that the entire wrestling community and its fans would have been having. And it's sad that we have to even go to that part to go, what went down? This isn't a funny moment right here. This isn't no ha ha ha, contrary to how you may feel. It's not a ha ha funny moment that we're talking about. And what's even more tragic in what I just said? If it would have been a female that was attacked by a male fan. Oh, hands down, nobody wouldn't have been making jokes. Marinate on that for a few ticks. AEW Rampage ratings are in for this past Friday. Looks like they did pretty good for the most part. I want to see, though, I'm still seeing the fast national numbers, but I wonder if the actual number is out and about right now. I'm not sure if it is. Actually, I see it now. Hang on a second. I actually see the official numbers now. So it looks like Rampage did. Bear with me a second here. Hang on. Shit. Hang on, guys. No. 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 So I'm going to go with these numbers here. This is just a snapshot. I want to preface before I even dive into it that it's just a snapshot. But it looks like Rampage for this past Friday did about, where is it? Am I reading it right here? Looks like it did about over 400. Hang on here. Just lost my place here. 483,000 viewers, so up 12% from last week's show. Not last Friday, but the Friday before, the Thanksgiving joint, where that one was like 431,000, if you guys recall. So, I mean, 483,000, that's not too shabby. That's not too shabby. Impact Wrestling's ratings for what they did last Thursday are in as well. Damn, that's embarrassing, but I'm just giving you the numbers, folks. They did 96,000 viewers. You heard me right. They did 96,000 viewers. And Moose right now is their champion. Hey, I've been wanting to see Moose as champion for a long time. So now that Moose is champion too, I've yet to watch Impact. But now that Moose is champion, I will be poking my head in there and seeing what all I've missed. They've got an interesting couple of things going on from the little bit that I have heard. I'm curious what's been going down. So, Dynamite for this week as far as the numbers go. Well, first of all, what was the numbers for last Wednesday's Dynamite? That's the first question. Let's see if we can find that out. So it looks like they did... Am I reading this right? Hang on here. So we're going back to the week of December 2nd. So they did 861,000, right? This was a pretty good show too. I think they're going to kind of be within that same range. I'm going to say AEW does 849,000. I'm going to say 849,000 for their viewership for this week. So mark that down, 849,000. Meanwhile, let's get a little bit into NXT. I ain't forget about the Corey Graves stuff. We'll get to that after the talk of NXT. Look, no full-blown recap, by the way. NXT for this week, first of all, that was a great send-off that they gave to Johnny Gargano. I thought, here's the sad part in regards to Johnny Gargano. I know that there were a lot of Johnny Gargano fans, still are. But at the same time, you had also wrestling fans. They just did not like Johnny Gargano. Some felt that guy was just much too small. The way that he was booked, you got people complaining about the Young Bucks. Hell, you got people that were complaining big time about Johnny Gargano matches, right? So I find it kind of funny that all the people that ever said anything negative about Johnny Gargano, now all of a sudden, oh, we're going to miss you. Oh, thank you. Oh, right. That's kind of funny, I personally feel. But that was a great send-off that Johnny Gargano got for this week. It was. It doesn't get any more from the heart. And I tell you what, it was really, really eye-opening to hear him say, hey, many people wonder why I've kept sticking around NXT all these years. Him basically saying it's home. He really doesn't want to be anywhere else. And I legit, I get that. I understand it. I definitely understand it. It explains a lot. It's funny, too, because over the years, I can remember so many of you all at times clamoring for a Johnny Gargano to be on Raw or to be on SmackDown. And I would say, yeah, that's great, but are we really sure about that? Is that something that we really want to talk about, because he could be involved in some dark waters on those shows. And it sucks that he's your guess is as good as mine. I mean, for all intents and purposes, it really does look as though he's done. I don't know the name of that guy that they had beat the crap out of Gargano there with the steel chair and all that. I don't know his name. I don't care to know his name. You can post the name in the chat. I'm not going to remember it. Even when the show is over, I'm not going to remember the guy's name. Because he just comes off to me very generic. Just very generic. Yeah. I don't know that guy's name, but I've seen a little bit of his stuff off and on. And I'm really not a fan of his work. I'm really not a fan of his work. And to the person in the chat that had said, "Who are you?" Okay, so you got the title of the video via YouTube. Had you clicked on the episode description, you would have gotten your 5 W's all right there. Who, what, when, where, why. Who am I? Lee Sanders. Oh, what are you about? I'm talking all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Oh, okay. 411 Mania columnist. Oh, okay. Like, sometimes, folks, before you type and hit send, sometimes if you just spend an extra 5 seconds doing a little research, it goes a long way. I promise you. Not being a dick, I'm just keeping it real with you guys. Seriously. Reading is fundamental. But I don't know who that guy is. I checked out a little bit of his work from time to time. He seems I don't know. Maybe I gotta just go in to the next NXT whenever he's doing something in the ring and just really, but I'm one of those, okay, first impressions, and the first impression for me is just, yeah. So we're going to waste this nice little moment here with Johnny Gargano and the fans. We're pretty much going to waste that nice little moment on this right here. Like, oh, okay, whatever, right? Is it really goodbye to Johnny Gargano? Or is it pretty much see you in a little bit? I mean, we pretty much heard what he said. He's got February coming up. That's when the baby's due. That's when officially he's going to become a proud papa. So you would imagine that he's taking the rest of this time, during the holidays, be with his family and everything. And good for him, He's been out there all these years busting his ass, entertaining. He deserves that. He deserves that rest. But is it really goodbye, or is it more so see you down the road? Look, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a case where WWE might have said to Johnny Gargano, look, go enjoy the holidays with your family. Go enjoy being a proud papa. And when you're ready to sit down and we can try to think about what's next, we'll deal with it then, and whatever happens. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they might have came to him like that. Sure, the contract and all that has expired, but I wouldn't be surprised if they might have said to him, hey, look, just let's talk in a couple of months. It's possible. Just like it's very well possible we could see the guy show up on AEW programming before the year is out. How about that? Right? Yeah, I'll do your little 1 week contract extension, but afterwards, pull a Lex Luger basically, right? So your guess is as good as mine what the future holds for Johnny Gargano. But you got to admit, if he were to return to the WWE through the NXT wing, it's kind of a nice little way for him to come back, per se, Or does the future for Johnny Gargano lie on the main roster? Kyle O'Reilly had his nice little swan song as well. Von Wagner, steel cage match. That actually was a pretty good match, I got to say. That actually was a pretty damn good match. That music got to change, though, man. That music, every time I hear that music, I chuckle. I chuckle. What's the name of his theme song? Pain is Right, or whatever the hell. As a matter of fact, let me just go on YouTube real quick here. Because I just saw it for the first time today, and I didn't even know that it had a proper, right? I just typed in Von Wagner theme, thinking I was just going to get Von Wagner theme song. Might is Right. So when it goes, so that's Might is Right. Like, whatever, man. I just know that sounds like a busted porno. Seriously, it does. I know. I address the elephant in the room. I don't care. It sounds like a busted ass porno every time I hear that. But that Von Wagner dude, yeah, I know he get jokes about his forehead and all that, but he's got a nice look to him overall. Just the overall presentation and what he's doing in the ring. I like the guy. I like the guy. I'm finally coming around to Tony D'Angelo too. I'm finally coming around to him. At first I thought it was a little bit too overly animated, some of the vignettes that I was seeing of him and everything, but nah, I'm really starting to take a liking to him. I don't know if that's because I've always been a fan of The Sopranos, the Godfather franchise, just all things mafia, Johnny Gotti and all of that. I don't know if maybe that's why I'm just kicking back, really enjoying this for what it's worth. But I got to say the vignettes were just too overly animated for me. But now that I'm really able to take in the character on a weekly basis, yeah, I definitely find him to be a pretty good highlight for NXT. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that was kind of noteworthy from this week's NXT. I'd have to rely on you guys that might have saw it, and maybe you want me to comment further on it. But the Cora Jade, Brandy Rhodes, that went exactly as I thought that was going to play out, as far as Cora Jade coming out saying, hey, I beat you a couple of weeks ago, and I was the one that pretty much was responsible for helping my team win at War Games. So, hey, if anybody deserves a title shot against you, it should be me. That was exactly, I called that for what it was worth on War Games. So to see how that played out on NXT, that was pretty good, how that was executed. I can't believe, as far as other matches of the night, I gotta give it up to Santos Escobar, and who is the other guy? I'm trying to think of the other guy's name. It's on the tip of my fucking tongue right now. That's gonna bother me now. That's gonna bother me big time. Help me out, chat. The guy that Santos Escobar faced on NXT this week. That guy is killer fucking good. That was actually my first time seeing him in ring action wise. If he did something a couple of weeks prior, I don't remember it, sadly, because I've clocked out on a lot of episodes. But what he did with Santos this week, he's another one of those. That's a good pet project. I mean, you really take a step back and you look at that NXT 2.0 roster. Tony D'Angelo, Cora Jade for sure, Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, Cameron Grimes. I can't believe that Cameron Grimes. I can't believe we're still going down the path that we're going, where those guys are going to be having one more match. Chat, I got to tell you guys, I got to tell you guys that's checking out the show live right now, I know we're used to having lurkers and I'm down with that. But other than LH, who did show love and, put some stuff out there, why are you guys so shy tonight? Come on, this is our show. Like, this is our family. If you don't know, then say, I don't know. I wish I could help. But, we're trying to make this interactive here. You guys are making it like pulling teeth tonight. I got to be honest. All right, so let me go on here. You ask for something, and sadly, you got to do it your fucking self. All right, I see how it is. All right. And now you guys wonder why half the time I don't look at the chat. All right. So I'm going to do this my damn self here. And let me see if I can pull up this. Sorry about this, guys. But this is what happens when you don't get help from your live audience. Let's see here. I'm going to type in NXT. Here we go. All right, because that's going to bother me now. I got to know that guy's name. Let's see. The guy's name was Zion Quinn. That's who it is. Zion Quinn. Santos Escobar, Zion Quinn. Great matchup between those two. Zion Quinn looks like a bona fide fucking superstar. A bona fide future fucking superstar. I could even see something further down the pipeline come about where Damian Priest and he, maybe as a tag team, go after the tag titles, or just the two of them going back and forth. Yeah, I can definitely see something like that go down. I love the added drama that was in there too, of Elektra Lopez slipping Quinn that pair of brass knuckles, and you're wondering here, okay, so is she really doing this for Zion, or is she doing this because she knows Zion's not going to play that game, and thus she's playing him all in the name of helping out Team Escobar? So I liked all of that nice little drama that you had going on there. Diamond Mine running into Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, all that was pretty good as well. They got some interesting stuff that had came from out of this NXT that I saw that definitely is going to make me come back the next week, see what else is going on. But the official results for NXT: Von Wagner defeating Kyle O'Reilly, Brooks Jensen, Josh Briggs defeating the Creed brothers, Dexter Lumis defeating Carmelo Hayes via DQ, Toxic Attraction defeated Yulisa Leon, Valentina Feroz. You just knew that was a squash match as soon as you saw Yulisa and Valentina. You just kind of looked at them and felt that they were CAWs. That's basically how it was. And then Santos Escobar defeating Zion Quinn. Good stuff in that show here and there. Enough to carry the show over what honestly was a lot of weak sauce. Because I got to be honest, I did find myself doing a lot of fast forwarding on this one. But decent little show for what it was worth. Not too bad of an episode. But it seemed like they have taken the show since last I was watching. It seems like they're trying to take it in a... And by the way, the two-man color commentating booth there between Wade and Vic Joseph, I'm okay with that for now. Why does it have to be a three-man? Just let it be a two-man. It's all good. So that was NXT. Other than that, let's see. How are we doing on time? We're at like a minute 58. All right. So look, let's get into this Corey Graves stuff, and then we're pretty much done. We'll stick a fork in it. We'll call it DONE done. For those of you that represent and you check the show out on demand and on the downloads, I love you guys tremendously. You guys have no idea. I like when we're live as well, but with so many shows out there, the real estate is, those that do pop in, they let their presence be felt. That's great. But you guys that always go out of your way and you check out the show on demand and on the downloads, know particularly, I really love and appreciate you guys because you definitely represent and help fuel me to continue on doing this. So much love as always. And I know earlier I was talking about the video intro that we're going to be unveiling in 2022, but I'm already getting the gears in motion on how we can branch out the shows even more to even more networks, get more eyeballs, get more ears on the product as well. So stay tuned for that. So Corey Graves got into a little bit of hot water on social media early Wednesday, and at one point it got him trending. And it was really weird to see how all of this had manifested itself, quite honestly. And it was kind of sad seeing that Corey Graves played right into the hands of some of these people that, for all intents and purposes, are using social media to speak upon their narrative and to attract like-minded people that drink the Kool-Aid of their narratives, right? So set this up properly. You had a female former NXT talent by the name of Alyssa Moreno. She went to Twitter. She called out Corey Graves without adding him. I want to make sure we really stress that, because a lot of people that were kind of trying to get themselves caught up on what they missed, they were wondering, okay, well, did this girl tag Corey Graves, or did Corey Graves do some type of a vanity search? What the hell's going on here? So Alyssa Moreno, who does a little bit of announcing in the ring, stuff like that for a few indie feds and all that. Essentially, you can make the argument that she called out Corey Graves for focusing on how a female competitor looks in a match as opposed to what happens in the match itself. That's how you could perceive her comments, even though she didn't at Corey Graves. I mean, damn, there's only but so many wrestling shows that's out there that a person can watch that is on TV or is on YouTube or is on Fight. Process of elimination. I mean, you would like to believe she's perhaps talking about Corey Graves, right? So here's what she said that's in question. And I quote, "When an announced team can't focus on a match and is consistently commentating on the physical appearance of competitors, especially when it's women in the ring, it's time to find professional broadcasters who can tell the story without being distracted by the athletes." She goes on to say, "I don't often share my takes on things, but I work hard to prepare myself as a broadcaster. I've studied how great commentary teams can elevate matches, but it's really grating to hear announcers get lost in how attractive they think competitors are in the midst of a match." So Corey Graves chimed in. Now, for those of you that's curious if Corey Graves was ever following this individual on Twitter, at least, here's the beautiful thing about Twitter. When you get a Twitter friend recommendation or, oh, what's this page about? And you usually see blah, blah, blah is followed by whoever you're following. And then you'll see a little number at the end and it'll say, and 23 other people. And usually if you click on it, you can see everybody else that is following that particular account. Corey Graves, for all intents and purposes, was not following this account. So to those that maybe were wondering, okay, is it even possible that he was doing some type of a vanity search? Corey Graves doesn't strike me as the person, as a type of person that would do that. if I were a betting man, and it's extremely rare that I bet money, but if I were a betting man, I bet you he did not do a vanity search. Not for nothing, but her posts, the retweets, the favorites, you do that enough, and we're talking about a particular circle of people, right? And in this case, we're talking about wrestling. Eventually, it's like the Kevin Bacon game, right? You know about the Kevin Bacon pyramid game, right? You just take like one person and somehow everything connects back to Kevin Bacon. Eventually, right? So I don't think Corey Graves did any type of a vanity search whatsoever. So he came across this, he quoted it and said, well then, I suggest you find a different field than sports entertainment if you can't differentiate between a TV character and an actual journalist. Then I don't trust anything you have to say. Good luck. He then followed up with responding to criticism about how I speak on TV about a character portrayed by my actual fiance trumps any of your woke bullshit. But you do you. You're welcome for the virtue signal boost. Now, I've got to pause on that one because this post right here that Corey Graves had said, the first response about, well, then I suggest you find. So that was directed at Alyssa Moreno. But this next post about woke bullshit, that was actually directed to this other guy that has this blue check mark. And as I've said to you guys repeatedly on the show, as well as some of my fellow brothers in the podcasting world, there are certain individuals with these blue check marks that honestly, they shouldn't have these blue check marks because they do not truly understand the power that they have as a result of having this blue check mark. Because whether they want to admit it or not, they are a social media influencer, especially when you got something as powerful as that blue check mark. And when you have that blue check mark, social media, the followers, they're going to be looking at you, and whether you want it or not, they're going to be looking at you as a figure of some type of an authority. And it was really sad to see how this individual, you could really tell that this person, I don't know if his name's like Norman Q, some weird handle that he has, but you could tell that he has some type of deep animosity, some type of deep hatred towards Corey Graves. And the fact that he was really, I mean, this guy was coming at Corey with some serious venom. There's being cynical, and then there's whoa, pump the brakes here. And I couldn't help but find myself looking at this shit and just saying to myself, why is Corey even fucking responding to this shit? Like, seriously. And here's what, the Norman Q guy, here's what he said that made Corey respond to him about this whole woke bullshit. Hey, I'm actually talking about my fiance. What the hell? This guy says to Corey, responding to criticism regarding how you talk about women by telling a woman that she's in the wrong line of work probably isn't a good move, but you do you. And so Corey responding to that guy, right? Yeah. And then this guy comes right back at Corey and he says, woke bullshit is what you think it's ill-advised for a guy who's on TV to tell a female wrestling reporter she's in the wrong line of work. To which Corey says, where, Norman, did I say anything about her gender? I specifically targeted her lack of understanding between fiction, reality. Please correct me. Corey pretty much will put a bookend on this, saying in 2021, being engaged to an absolutely wildly talented, beautiful woman, and talking about how amazingly beautiful and talented I think she is on TV because we work at the same place is somehow offensive to some people. I guess he meant to put in there on Twitter. Call me a troll buffet. First of all, Corey, you smart, brother. Come on, Corey, you smart, man. You know how social media is. It goes against everything that I have said over the years, which is for all the good that there is on social media, there's a lot of bad that's out there. You've got people that whatever they can do to spin whatever narrative that they can spin, whatever piece of information that they get, if they can spin it to fit their respected if they can take it and spin it to fit their narrative, be it good or bad, and if it will please their base, then they will fucking utilize it and milk it for all it's freaking worth. That's just how it is, sadly. You've got people that are chasing clout. They want that 15 seconds of fame, and they're trying to figure out ways how to bait some of your favorite athletes, celebrities, talents, you name it. And there are troll accounts that are just dedicated for this. Get their hits and clicks just off of, trolling people. Very weird. I would have expected Corey to just keep on, be a lurker. Okay, I see what's being said. All right, this person feels that way. Well, you know what? They don't know me. Fuck them. They're obviously not watching the product every single week, because anybody that is watching the product every single week, anybody that is a follower of myself, a follower of my fiance, they know that we're an item, and they got enough common sense to know that anytime that they're watching my show, 3 hours of Monday Night Raw that I'm on commentary, the only time that I'm going above and beyond, and I'm talking about how gorgeous does this woman look, can we appreciate all the magnificent beauty that is her, and blah this and blah that. The only time that we hear Corey pretty much having a, love you Corey, but, and I know you're playing the part, but I'm gonna call it for what it is, cream in his pants, if you will, and rightfully so, is when his fiance comes out. He doesn't do that shit when Charlotte Flair is out there. I mean, has people really paid attention to when Charlotte Flair is out there? And when this man is doing his thing on commentating? Bow down to the queen. It's the queen, Charlotte Flair. Yes, hold the ropes for her. We must show her proper respect. Pretty much does the same thing to Zelina Vega. Nikki Ash, I remember when he was just having fun belittling Nikki Ash, constantly questioning why is Rhea Ripley even associated with Nikki Ash, right? Very, very, you really, really pay attention. Bianca Belair, hey man, odds are stacked up against her, man. Not really sure about Bianca. Oh man, Doudrop, you look at what he has to say about Doudrop. I mean, anybody that has watched at least a month to 2 months worth of episodes, you got Corey Graves' blueprint down. The only time he's marking out, talking about looks and all of that, is for his fiance, and rightfully so. Now, you don't think, and see, here's the other thing that nobody has mentioned here, not even Corey, which would have just shut this down altogether. People, you don't think Carmella has been in on what Corey Graves has been saying about her? You don't think all the times that Corey Graves and Carmella have been traveling together, going to different cities, whatever, live events, hey, hon, I got this idea. I was thinking, since you're doing this whole thing with the mask and, now that I'm pretty much going to be able to see you on the regular again as a performer and all that, yeah, how would you feel if I was just really putting you over, talking about how hot you are, how sexy you are, and gorgeous, and, how phenomenal you are in the ring, but just really putting over your beauty? Would you be okay with that? Yeah, sure. Yeah, go ahead. You don't think she signed off on that? All of that could have been dismissed. That would have been me. I'm like, not for nothing, but one, that's my fiance in real life. Two, you don't think one hand knows what the other is doing? Ran it by her first for approval, and she actually was down. Shut that shit down just like that. And that pretty much ends, right? That pretty much ends. Notice in regards to the illicit chick never did mention anything about, I don't even think she knew that Corey and Carmella were an idol. I don't even think she knew. And I'm just a little bit curious, be it that, we could pretty much do this in real time and all. I'm just a little bit curious if she had anything additional to say, because she pretty much got all this started up on December 7th. And I'm just a little bit curious if she has since, said a little something. Okay, so here's the latest thing that she put out there. Not sure how much it matters at the point that it has escalated, but my initial tweets from yesterday stem from a handful of teeny tiny independent promotions whose matches I watched on YouTube. What did I just tell you guys? Almost at the very beginning, by the way. What did I say? I said, I wish we could have like a rewind button right now where I could just rewind the audio. But what did I say? I said there's only but a handful of wrestling promotions that's on TV versus, you're going online, you're watching something, maybe like on YouTube or Fight TV or whatever. Yeah, it kind of would appear. Remember I kept stressing that? What's the one thing that I've always told you guys on this show over the years? Never assume. Because when you assume, you make an ass out of yourself. That's just how it is. That's why if you notice, and I remember this had upset the hell out of fans. It had upset the hell out of fans. I remember I had something weird had happened wrestling news wise. And somebody was like, man, why aren't you covering this? You should be on this already. And I told them straight up, I said, look, I do a 9 to 5 just like you and everybody else. And I got to recharge. I've already met my obligation of shows for this week. And, I get that that's breaking news for you and everything. But for me, that's actually something that can wait until more information is forthcoming and we know a little bit more concrete information on what all came about. I got to a point a long time ago. It's like, yeah, it'd be very easy for me to go chase that clout and, push some shit out there and then not having all the facts. That'd be very fucking easy. Very fucking easy. But look at what that entails. Oh, well, if you do that, sadly, you're not going to get the clicks. You're not going to get the hits. You're not going to get the subs. Well, oh well. I'd rather be accurate in my reporting and coverage than some needle dick that's making all these assumptions just trying to freaking, right? But this is what I don't understand. Riddle me this. This is what I don't understand. She put this post out a couple of hours before midnight, August 8th, 2021. This is what I don't understand. This post I'm looking at right now, 5 hours ago that she posted. So if you are watching independent promotions on YouTube, why didn't you go on ahead and say that with the quickness as soon as you saw that Corey Graves had put something out there and it kind of appeared as though he was right? I mean, what was your phone off? Was your tablet like you were nowhere near social media? And I mean, I'm looking at her account right now. I see quite a few retweets and some other stuff. And when it counted the most, I'm sorry, but I don't know about you guys, but if I mean well, and I'm not trying to come after somebody with any ill intent, and I get some comment that, whoa, this ain't even about them. I don't know about you guys, but I'm going to hurry up, especially knowing that the facts are on my side. I'm going to hurry up and de-escalate the situation and let them know, brother, sister, I wasn't even talking about you. I'm talking about XYZ. I'm sorry if you took it that way, but this ain't even about you. Damn sad. It's damn sad when you really take a step back and you think about this, because Corey got burned for no damn reason on social media, called sexist and all this other bullshit that was totally fucking unnecessary, unwarranted, right? So he got caught up in the fire. This young woman and Alyssa Moreno, okay, she meant well. She wasn't talking about Corey. She actually was talking about something she was watching online. Well, don't you think that really should have been stressed as soon as you get a reply from Corey Graves, right? Then you have, because she's the one that essentially started this fire, and for it to magnify to the lengths that it did. This is why I always tell you guys, whenever we talk about the stuff that we talk about on this show, and why I always stress how you walk away, that's up to you guys. But I try to help you look at things from many different directions, right? Best thing Corey could have done, let me tell you something. This wouldn't even picked up any social media coverage whatsoever. If Corey saw this as a result of somebody retweeting, favoriting, and it came across his timeline that way, the most powerful thing that he could have done, fuck, I don't know this person. They don't know me. Why should I give a fuck about? I'm going to keep doing me. Just hit mute. Never see. That's what I do. If I come across a post from somebody, you'd be surprised. Sometimes, and Lord, I shouldn't have to say this, but for you guys that got Twitter, y'all that like to follow your little porn sites, I hope y'all realize that when you heart and like, the people that's following you see that as well. I don't know about you guys. I'm not trying to be at my job in between the shifts. I'm looking down at my phone, just seeing what's going on in Twitter news, and all I see is ass and tits and vagina, right? Yeah, I'm gonna automatically mute you. That's how I ain't trying to get in trouble, yo. I ain't trying to get in trouble, right? But it's like, that's what I do. Nowadays, the only time I block people is like when I know they're just being an absolute dick, when I know they're being an absolute troll. But it's like, if I come across something, I don't particularly care for that. I don't want to see this crap again. I just hit that fucking mute button. It's the most powerful button. My message to Corey, utilize that mute button a lot more when you come across shit that, you're not really feeling, you're not really sure how to take that person, if what you're picking up is a negative vibe or a negative reaction or whatever. It's like, man, and to anybody else, it's like, just hit the mute button, most powerful button that you got at your fingertips, right? They can still be your follower, but you just mute them out. And then whatever you want to, whenever it's a case where you want to maybe go and see what's new with them, well, then you're going to have to go out of your way, look at their account and see what's the 411, rather than you just be surprised and it's like, ugh, right? But very valuable lesson. We got a long ways to go in this society, and dangerous times that we're in when it comes to this new age of information consumption, because by the time shit is put out there on social media, so much of it is being ran with as a fact rather than it go through the proper filters of confirmation. Okay, is this actually news? Why is this news? Are the 5 W's covered here? Never assume, people. Never assume. Because when you assume the worst. That's the biggest lesson to take from out of this. The more you know. So we're going to stick a fork in it. We're going to call this show DONE done. At this point, I am done for the rest of the week. Your next edition of the RCWR show will be coming at you guys on, let me look at the calendar here. I deserve break too. Monday, December 13th. That is when I'm going to be back with you guys again. I'm going to enjoy that for what it's worth. What's that? That's like 4 days of a break, basically. Well, no, I got Thursday as well. So actually 1, 2, 3, 4, almost 5 days of a break. So I'm looking forward to that. Nice and relaxation. I'm looking forward to. Real quick, Spotify. I finally got a nice workaround for Spotify. So beginning this week, actually, you're going to start seeing Spotify, our shows on Spotify. And you're going to see 2 RCWR show joints. It's the first one. I'm working with Spotify to have the other feed removed, but we are slowly but surely uploading episodes on Spotify, as we are now back on Spotify again for you guys, and this time for good. So FYI on that one. But yeah, Be Kind Rewind. Check out the previous episodes you might have missed for on demand and on the downloads, wherever you get your podcasts. Like I said, we put out 5 shows back to back over 5 consecutive nights. And yeah, check them out, man. I mean, we covered the NWA Hard Times pay-per-view event. We covered the NXT War Games event. Then we had Monday's RCWR show. We talked about the whole Jeff Hardy pull from WWE event situation. And I think many of you guys will appreciate what I said about Jeff Hardy, as it mirrors very well with what all we just talked about in regards to Corey Graves. We had a new NWA Power Post show for you NWA fans. That was pretty good. Lot of came from that episode post Hard Times too. And of course, now you got this episode. So you guys got loads of content that you easily go back and check up on when you guys get a chance. All right. And yeah, get at me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Use the keywords The RCWR Show. And unless you guys have other plans, I'm wishing you guys to be safe and most importantly, be kind to one another. And I will see you guys for the next edition, Monday, December 13th, 11 p.m. Eastern. Take care, y'all. Peace.